Welcome to Elevate Springfield, where we will dive into strategies and stories that help you rise to your full potential. Each episode, we'll talk about how you can take intentional steps to elevate your life and your business while making a meaningful impact on those around you. Along the way, we're going to bring in the change makers from our community that are already elevating. We'll bring the actionable strategies, you bring the discipline and follow through, and together we can elevate Springfield.
All right, let's go, Springfield. Let's 10X today and 10X every day. You are listening to the Elevate Springfield podcast. Robert Farrell here, certified 10X coach, speaker, and mentor, here to bring you actionable strategies. You bring the discipline and follow through, and together, that's right, y'all, we're going to elevate Springfield. So another great week. So many great things happening in the capital city to close out part of the summer here. Had a great time at the Legends game on Saturday night. The Lucky Horseshoes, Jamie Toole, and their entire team out there are doing some really great things for the community. So as we move forward here, support them. They are certainly elevating the quality of life. Anything we can do here in our area to add those other opportunities, add those community events, add those opportunities for people to be able to get together, for people to be able to experience these different things in our community, the better off we're going to be. So today, speaking of adding things to our community, this gentleman does it on a daily basis, tries to bring additional businesses to our community while retaining and hopefully keeping all of our current businesses here, essentially wanting our area to grow just like I do and just like I hope all of you do. That's Mr. Ryan McCrady with the Springfield Sangamon Growth Alliance. Really great story. He's got a lot of great experience, a wealth of knowledge on the economic front, on what's going on in our area. Some of these large developments, they have played a pivotal role in making them come to fruition. So I'm excited to help tell his story today. So many different nuggets. I think you're going to get a lot of great things. So we've got another segment of the Wellness Upgrade with Dr. Samantha Wagner from Wagner Chiropractic. Looking forward to bringing you more tips and strategies on how to upgrade and elevate your health and wellness. We always want to thank our friends over at Custom Property Solutions, Brandon and his team. Anything you need on your land, whether it's land clearing, site development, landscaping, hardscaping, lawn care, or anything in between, Brandon and his team are going to take care of you with precision and passion. Head over to CustomPropertySolutionsLLC.com. You know, we've had a great time over the past month or so in our new studio downtown, the Big Dog Construction Studio right across from the old state capitol. We are certainly enjoying being down here, helping to elevate downtown while we are elevating our entire community. So, hey, we're going to get right to Ryan after the break. Custom Property Solutions transforms land and outdoor spaces throughout Central Illinois with precision and passion. From clearing overgrown brush to crafting stunning patios and fire pits. Need expert lawn care, excavation, or fence row clearing? They've got you covered, safely, efficiently, and on budget. Fully insured and satisfaction guaranteed. Visit CustomPropertySolutionsLLC.com today, where your land meets their passion. All right, and we are back. Joining me now is a man that is certainly elevating Springfield, Mr. Ryan McCrady. Ryan, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming. Of course, we're going to talk about the Springfield Sangamon Growth Alliance and all that, but let's let the audience learn a little bit more about Ryan. Let's talk about your background a little bit.
Sure. So I was born and raised in Sangamon County, Divernon.
Mm-hmm.
Basically Springfield. It's a little easier to say Springfield.
Just out of Springfield.
Grew up here. I'm a alum of Lincoln Land Community College, and got my bachelor's degree at Illinois State University. And while I was going to school for undergrad, I worked quite a bit in banking, and namely with Illini Bank, which now is part of United Community Bank. growing up. And then while I was at Illinois State doing that, and then graduated from college, I ended up getting a job at the First National Bank of Chicago because of that banking experience I had.
Yeah.
So I had no idea. Here I go from Dive Vernon to the biggest bank in the Midwest.
Sure.
And quite a culture shock to move from there to downtown Chicago. But had a great experience doing that for a couple of years as an internal auditor, and then realized I wasn't really a big city person. I enjoyed visiting it, but it's just a way of life that wasn't consistent with what I was used to. So came back to Springfield, worked for Illini Bank, and then I ended up going to work in county government. I was the comptroller at the Sangamon County Sheriff's Office. Started there in '96 and spent 12 years at the county. When I left, I was county administrator, which is the chief appointed official for county government. Left that to go to Decatur to be city manager. Ended up spending about 20 years in total in local government administration, and then took over the Decatur Economic Development Corporation in 2015. And I left there in May of 2020 to take the job I have right now, which is president and CEO of the Springfield Sangamon Growth Alliance. And most importantly, I'm married my wife, Jenna, for 25 years. And we have 3 kids that are not kids anymore.
Right.
They're big people. And one son-in-law now. So our daughter recently
got married.
So
right?
That's right. So that's very exciting to see the family kind of grow in that way. But live here in Springfield. And then my wife is a developmental therapist, self-employed developmental therapist. So that's who we are.
All right. What was your undergrad in?
My undergrad was in finance. And then I got my MBA from the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. Did that when I was living in Decatur because we were the last on-campus MBA class. So it was right as they were transitioning everything to online. And so I was able to just buzz over there, 45 minutes door to door from Decatur over to the campus there in Champaign, and loved every minute of that. It was a real challenge, but really felt like I needed that in my career. And it was a good challenge for me. I went back to get my graduate degree when I was 47. So they nicknamed me Papa Ryan in the class because I wasn't the oldest, but I was one of them.
Right.
And that was okay because I brought a lot of experience. When we needed a real life example of something for a group project, I was the guy.
Yeah, exactly. Where most of them just got done with their bachelor's and just going straight through. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was good. So I was really excited to get my MBA, and it really, really helped elevate my career and my personal life.
When you were in Chicago, you were downtown. What part of Chicago were you in?
Yeah, so I worked in the Loop. The First National Bank of Chicago was then called First Chicago, and I can't remember. I think it's part of City now, but that was what it was. It was right there in the Loop, First National Plaza, right there on Dearborn, and it was a landmark institution. And I was an internal auditor. And the nice thing about that was I got to go all over the bank and do audits. I got to go out to Wall Street and do audits and work. And that was being a finance major, kid from a small town walking on Wall Street. That's pretty cool.
I was gonna say that's big time.
Yeah,
right there.
yeah. That was a really, really cool experience. And the bank was really good at in-service learning, education. And so anytime you had free time, you could sign up to take classes that they offer. They were really big on that education. I felt like I really took advantage of being a part of a very large corporation and really learned a lot. And being an internal auditor is kind of a unique situation. You don't get invited to any Christmas parties or anything. No, you don't. You're kind of your own team.
Right.
I remember, we would go on site to do audits because it was 1992. There wasn't any email or things like that. So you had to go into that department, and we did not get the nicest space to work in. It seemed like a lot of times they put us in the data processing room, which was somewhere around 45 degrees or something, because that was the days of mainframes computers. So they had these massive
keeping everything cool.
We didn't have to put our lunch in the refrigerator. That was a nice benefit, but it was really noisy and windy.
Certainly not a warm welcome for you.
They did not. No. They didn't want us very comfortable. But you learn a lot about diplomacy and how to work with people, because when the auditors show up, that's natural to kind of, you tense up a little bit, right? And so you have to learn how to work through those things and work with some difficult personalities from time to time, which is all the stuff that helps you going forward.
So finance, when did you decide, hey, that's what I want to do for my undergrad? Yeah. Was that something you always knew, or was that you started college and I think I'll go that route?
I guess I would tell people that there's not a straight line to figuring out what you want to do. I think it's really hard when we expect 17 and 18-year-olds to figure that out, because I actually had a scholarship to study meteorology
Mhm.
when I was a senior in high school. I wanted to be a TV weatherman was what I thought I wanted to be. So
You would have crushed that.
yeah, I had a scholarship to study meteorology. Northern Illinois University was
Uh-huh.
the only state school that had that degree across the
Okay.
state, and it was a really good program. And since I wanted to do that, I thought, well, I want a job shadow. So I called the weatherman at Channel 20 and said, hey, can you hook me up with the National Weather Service so I can job shadow?
Sure.
And back then they had their location at Abraham Lincoln Capitol Airport here in Springfield. So he's like, oh, he called somebody. And I go out there, like I spent a Saturday out there, and they paired me up with the grumpiest guy there was in the place. And I walked in and he's like, so you want to be a meteorologist, huh? And I'm like, I sure do. I want to be on TV. I want to be a TV weatherman. And he said, I got news for you. Those people are not meteorologists. Those people are communication majors. He goes, if you get a degree in meteorology, you're going to be working swing shifts at the airport with the rest of us.
Gotcha.
And I was like, no, I'm not. That scared me away. I went home and I said, yeah, I'm not going to do that anymore. My parents are like, what are we talking about? You got this scholarship. You can go do this. And I said, I don't want to do that. And I actually, when I started school at Lincoln Land, I was working at Spencer Gifts in White Oaks Mall.
Oh, yeah.
One of my jobs was piercing ears. So most people are surprised when I tell them I used to pierce ears.
Got any old pictures of you at the booth there?
No, I don't. And thankfully, social media didn't exist then. There weren't any pictures of that. And that poor kid who was my first client, there's no way that kid was more scared than I was when I went to put that earring in their ear. But I was working there at the mall, going to Lincoln Land, taking just like liberal arts classes, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I was in the bank in Divernon, cashing my paycheck, and the bank president said, hey, you were a pretty good student, weren't you? And I was like, yeah, I was valedictorian. He's like, we need a part-time teller because I'm not sure what you're doing right now, but it's warm in the winter, cool in the summer. We're closed on Sundays. You can come in here when you get out of class and work till closing, $4 an hour. That was a raise from what I was making.
Sure.
And I was like, sure, I'll try that. And I got in that bank and it just clicked. I just being in that environment, and I always liked numbers. I don't know, something about that kind of set me on fire. And then I was like, this is what I want to do. That exposure, that innocent little part-time job changed a lot for me. And that person, Fred Jessup is his name. He still works at United Community Bank. That was a life-changing experience for me. Just that person giving me that part-time job.
And even if he still didn't work there, you'd remember him because you remember those people that at those turning points, at those pivot points where you decide, hey, I'm going to go this route, and they're the ones that kind of led you down the path or gave you the path to at least look at.
It did. And, one of the hardest parts about that job growing up in a small town is everybody had a nickname. And when the people come in to cash their paychecks, I don't know their real names. So I'd have to go over. I'm like, is that this guy's real name? Because I only know him as such and such.
Right.
No, that's his real name. So
that's funny.
that was an experience, was learning everybody's real name in town. But that was when I really got interested in money and finance and economics and all those kind of things. And you just kind of stumble across that in life. And that's why I tell, younger people now, it's like, don't be afraid to take that job. And just because you're going to get exposed to something and you will find out either you do or you don't like that. And both those bits of information are really helpful and valuable.
No doubt about it. Very valuable. Yep. Absolutely. Well, let's dig into what you're doing now. So the Springfield Sangamon Growth Alliance. First off, tell us, for anybody out there that may not know what that is, tell us what you guys do.
So the Growth Alliance started in 2018, and we are a non-profit, separate public-private partnership, and we're focused on economic development. So that means growing the economy of Springfield and all of Sangamon County. This is a very similar model for economic development that you see in other communities. Most communities have a separate public-private partnership that works on it. And it's because a lot of the work that we have to do has to remain confidential. And that's really hard to do in government, and for good reason, the public accountability laws and things like that. But it's a model that corporations and businesses and site selection consultants are used to working with. So at the end of the day, the metric that we're watching is we want more people living and working in Springfield and Sangamon County. And we do that through this mysterious thing called economic development. And I get a lot of questions about what that means. You've seen those things on Facebook, what I actually do, what people think I do, right? But I think when I explain economic development, there's really 3 focus areas. And it's really not any different to what a private business goes through. Business retention. We work really hard to keep our businesses here and to keep them open. And expansion. So growing that business. How can we get them to add 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 jobs? at their location, and all those jobs matter. And so in the private industry, they say it's easier to grow a customer than it is to get a new one, right?
Certainly.
The cost of customer acquisition is something that the private industry focuses on. And we focus on that too. Because if we take a business and we keep them here and we get them to expand, maybe expand their footprint, expand their hiring, the taxpayers are probably not building another road or extending another sewer line or a water line to do that.
Right.
So the return, their ROI to the economy is better when you do that. And so you can really grow your economy by keeping your businesses here. And then the third focus area is business attraction. And a lot of people probably think that's what we do most of, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going around the country, going to fancy dinners with developers.
Wooing people to try to come, right?
That's right. And we do that. 2/3 of our time and effort spent on retention and expansion. And so we go out and have over 100 meetings every year with local business people. And these are businesses from entrepreneurs or pre-entrepreneurs, people with an idea, all the way up to the biggest companies in town. And we actually spend most of our time working with small to mid-sized companies because they don't have all the resources on staff that a big business does. And
right.
so
you guys can help them out with that.
Yeah, we can add a lot of value in working with them. We also operate Thrive and SPI, which is a community marketing program. We market the community internally and externally. Internally to improve our self-talk. We think about the community.
That's huge, isn't it?
And it is. And externally to attract businesses, but also to help our businesses that are here attract talent. And so you have to get out and tell your story. You have to get out at market because people are making an impression. They're going to make it based on what you say, or they're going to make it based on what other entities say. So that external marketing is important because the best example I can give is, Robert, if you got a call one day from a business in Springfield that said, we'd like for you to come take this job, you're probably not coming alone.
Right.
You're probably bringing other people with you.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to go home from work and, hey, I got a call today about this job in Springfield. Man, it sounds awesome. And your family's going to go, that's great, but what do we do?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what kind of jobs are there for us? What kind of things are there further to do? You know, do they have a running club there? Or do they have a good food or art scene? Or, you know, our faith's very important to us.
Right.
What's that part of the community look like? And so it's impossible for any one business in town to be able to tell that story. And so that's where the community marketing campaign comes in. We're able to provide that information to sell the community. And it's very important. And human resources departments and realtors and other entities, recruiters use a lot of our community marketing information when they're trying to attract talent into their organization.
And that's so valuable. And I mean, companies can try to attract them to their business, but a lot of times they don't, like you said, they don't have the resources to try to market the community as well. And if the community marketing is out there in a negative light, then somebody's not going to come to them. But you guys are doing a great job of painting that positive picture.
It's very important. And one of the things I like people to know is that it's a community marketing campaign. So when I say that, what I mean is if you're in this community and you need some high quality photography or video content or other things to help with your marketing program, we will provide to you what we have at no cost.
That's awesome.
Because it helps you give a really good professional image. It helps give a consistent image. Everything in that community marketing campaign is actually from our community. And so we don't go out and buy photo stock from someplace else or video content. It's created here. So it's legitimate, it's authentic, and we're happy to provide that to anybody that needs it.
What kind of images and videos are in there? What are we looking at?
So we contract with local photographers to go out and just take pictures at events. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you're at an event and someone's just taking pictures, whether it's Love at Amp or the Arts Fair or Pride Fest or the Fat 5K.
Right.
I don't know if we can say that or not.
You can on this one. You can throw it out if you want on this one.
All right. You're at a revival or something like that, and someone's taking pictures. Mm-hmm. We have people out doing that, and they're out taking video content and things like that. And that's the kind of stuff you can expect to see. We call local businesses and, hey, can we take some shots inside of maybe a meeting you're having, a meeting room, if we need that kind of content. So we keep track of what we have, and we'll be like, we don't have anything, in this category. Can you go out and shoot some of that? And people are willing to open their doors to us and let us go out and take those pictures. And sometimes we get talent to go out and our most recent commercial that you see on television right now shows people at the lake jumping off the boat, all that kind of stuff. That was not a random thing. That was something that we actually set up. And it's Illinois, so the weather has to be right.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of how it goes through there. So it's just a lot of things. Great photography, great aerial photography of the community.
Yeah, that's one I love. I love the aerial photography of that. And then, I mean, the last commercial you guys had, I can't remember who you had do it, but it sounded kind of like you on the
and the voice sounds like mine. I never into that a lot. It's actually a Springfield guy, Chris Stapleton, who grew up here in Springfield, and a lot of people know him because he was a kicker for SHG and kicked for some Big Ten football team, Michigan, I think they're called.
Right.
Sorry, I'm an Illini fan,
Exactly.
but and he does voiceover work, and he's an actor, and so he actually voiced it, and I did not realize how similar our voices were.
Literally, the first time I heard it, I thought it was you, and then I had a conversation with you shortly after that and realized that it wasn't you.
It's not.
So if people are wanting to take advantage of that, do they just go out to the website and find contact information
That's
to
right.
do that? Or
our website's thriveandspi.org. You can get my contact. More importantly, you can get Shelly Tulo's contact, and she's our director of marketing and communications. And we're happy to chat about what we can do. And we'll give it to you. You can brand it however you want. We don't require you to put our brand on it. It's community marketing. So yeah, it's out there.
So who are some of the partners with the Growth Alliance? Some of the companies that are partnering with you guys?
We do get funding from some public entities, City of Springfield, Sangamon County, a number of smaller taxing districts too. But we have about 30 private businesses that provide funding to us. And they are definitely businesses you would recognize. If I missed any here, I want to go ahead and apologize in advance. This is risky, but Memorial Health Systems, HSHS, Hanson Professional, Crawford Murphy and Tilly, Horseman Company, Troxel Insurance, Israel Housing Imports, Henson Robinson, E.L. Pruitt, O'Shea Builders, Ameren, Illinois. I'm going through trying to picture all my board members in my mind. Bank of Springfield, IMB, Clock Tower Community Bank, Carrollton Bank, FQ, Heartland Bank. Boy, there's just a lot of companies from a lot of different industries.
I mean, all the big names in the area, basically.
That's right.
Are part of that.
And it is a contribution. There's not a return on the investment. Right. And a lot of times I'm asked, why would they do that? Why would they give that money? Well, they know to be successful, they have to have a robust economy. Mm-hmm. And they also know that when they're trying to attract or retain a worker, just like I said, that person's not coming by themselves. And most couples don't work together. And so they probably work in different industries. So it's just all about increasing the size of the pie, not fighting over the size of the slice that you have. And so the bigger we can get the economy, the better off they can all be.
No doubt about it. Because I think a lot of people, when they're thinking economic development, that's not one of the first things they think about is the attraction of a workforce, attraction of people here. They think of the businesses and stuff, but they don't realize how important that is to be able to market yourself and attract people to come here.
Yeah, every year they survey national company CEOs about what matters when they pick sites or where they locate. The number one thing every single year is the availability of the workforce. Are the workers there? Is the workforce energized and showing up to work every day?
Sure.
That's the most important thing. You can give them a free piece of land, a free building, no taxes. But if they can't get workers, they can't get the job done. So it is the number one most important thing.
Well, let's talk a little bit about, I know you watch the data closely. So what's our economy looking like right now here locally?
Well, I never expected that the president would be weighing in on Bureau of Labor Statistics data like we had about a week ago. It's not something you really hear a president talk about very often. It's mostly nerdy people like me. But we watch our local economic data closely. And what I want to encourage people to think about is when you look at the economy, quote unquote, the economy, don't look at just one indicator. Just like if you're driving your car, it doesn't do you any good to have a full tank of gas and no oil and no coolant, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to look at all those gauges together to figure out the health of the situation. So there's a number of numbers we watch: unemployment rate, but we also closely watch the number of employed people, the average hourly wage at private employers, and the average number of hours worked at private employers. Those are all things that we watch and blend those together. The unemployment rate gets the most press.
Of course,
the easiest to watch. And our unemployment rate right now is 3.6%, which is crazy low.
Yeah.
It's a full percentage point lower than the state average, and about a full percentage point lower than the national average right now.
A full percentage point is huge
in
that area.
It is, because we're not 1% lower.
Right.
We're probably close to 20 to 25% lower. Right. That's something I have to explain to people and that happens a lot. It's 1% lower. No, it's 1 percentage point lower.
Correct.
But It's significant. As far as the number of employed people, we have consistently seen job gains coming out of the pandemic. And I think we're taking that for granted because it's not what you've seen in other communities, mainly because the workforce changed during the pandemic and people's value proposition for work changed significantly.
It did.
But in our community, the Midwestern work ethic's alive and well. We're up 300 jobs from where we were last year. And that's not a huge number in itself. But Robert, you probably remember I've been reporting, we've been up 1,700, 2,900. I mean, we've been really knocking it out of the park on the job side of things. And that's not because of what we do. That's because people in this community get up and go to work.
Right.
And it's a real thing. It's measurable. And when companies talk to me about our workforce and I can tell them that, they're like, wow, that's impressive. And it's interesting. You think employers want to go to areas where there's high unemployment because there's workers available. That's not what they want to measure. They want to measure the desire to work. And they'll go to town and compete for workers. If the spirit's alive,
right,
they'll go there. And it's just, it's fascinating to me.
Yeah, because if the spirit isn't alive, if their unemployment rate is super high because people aren't wanting to get out there and work, then it's not going to do them any good, is it?
It's not. And wages here are good. Our average hourly wage at a private employer right now is about $30.50 an hour. It went up about 25% during the pandemic. And
it's huge.
It has leveled off the last couple of years, which is a good thing. You want some balance in there because you don't want to get into a wage price spiral.
Yeah, we were very much in a workers market, I guess, for a while.
We were, and that's leveling off. It is the highest in the region, though. It's higher than Peoria, Bloomington Normal, Champaign, Urbana, and Decatur. And our cost of living is about 93% of the national average. So you take what it costs to live here and how much you make, and the rest is what I call fun money, discretionable incomes. Those two balance out well for us.
I think that would surprise people that we were higher than some of those other communities that you mentioned.
It is. It's very, very interesting. And we can, once again, this all comes from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And the other number we watch is kind of a strange one, but the average hours worked at a private employer. And this is a really important pre-recessionary indicator. Because a lot of times employers, if things start to slow down, they'll start cutting back hours in hopes they don't have to lay people off.
Right.
And so if you see that starting to trend down, that's having your ear to the track. You can hear some things coming. And that's staying very steady right now, around about 32 hours per week on average. It's stayed right where it is. So that's a number we watch closely. Now, you heard things on the news. There's some chatter out there about the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and they did a reset of some numbers. This is the first time I've ever seen anybody talk about it nationally. I've been watching these numbers for years. This is really common. A couple times a year, they go back and do a reset because they survey employers, and not all the information comes in time for this monthly report. So when they get that real data, they have to go back and make some adjustments.
It's very common. It happens all the time.
It happens at least a couple times a year.
Right.
It's not uncommon at all. And it's economic developers who watch that. We were not alarmed by it. Got quite a bit of attention last week. I think someone lost a job over that. So I don't want to get into the politics of it. Just know it's not unusual for it to happen.
Right.
And all data is reported typically using models because you take the data you get, but then the model helps you extrapolate that and look at other things. Models look at things like correlations and causations and standard deviations, and all those things come together to help you come out with a number. And I believe the numbers are better and are more legitimate when you can go back and level set them. It's like, as a professional, if you change your mind because you have more information, I think that's okay.
That's a good thing. Yeah, that's fine.
Right. And so that's kind of what happened with those numbers. So, but here locally, our economy is doing well right now, and we're going to keep pushing that. We're not going to get soft. We're not going to sit back and get too comfortable right now. I want to thank everybody for getting up and going to work every day, because that's what they're doing.
Let's go. Keep working, y'all. So let's we've had a number of large developments here recently. So just give us a brief update on some of those big developments that have happened over the last couple of years.
One that really got everybody's attention last month was when they inflated the dome out the Shield Sports Complex. That's the largest air-supported sports dome in the world. And I'm really proud because it's in our town, but it was built by our folks, right? We have a local labor requirement on that job. Those are our workers doing that. And the sports complex is going great. They will be hosting events out there here in the fall, like in the October timeframe. The big grand opening will be spring of 26, probably around March or so. But they have been very successful at filling the calendar already for the first 3 years of operation.
Oh, I figured it'd be a just ding, ding, ding. Let's go.
26, 27, and 28 are really full with events. Get ready. The company's coming over. So it's what's going to be happening here. So it's going real well. The hotel out there should be opening soon.
They're going to need it.
Ground is broken on the family entertainment center. That's what's out there. We expect to continue to see investments happening. And you're seeing some other investments along like Stanford and Wabash and where MacArthur intersects there. You've seen some other new things pop up. And we have new hotels on the east side too, along Dirksen Parkway also. It spreads throughout the community, but that one's going really well. And it's a great example of how this community came together, both government, private industry, banks. Everybody got together and shared on that one. And it's a good example of everyone coming together and looking to collaborate for a benefit that isn't just for themselves.
Right. Yeah. No, it's certainly going to elevate the community.
It is. So that item's going up. Still an exciting thing coming down is the Pillsbury development. Right. The Pillsbury plant's been an eyesore here for 25 years or so, and the Growth Alliance has worked very closely with moving Pillsbury forward. The environmental issues inside the lower level buildings are all resolved. Demolition either has or will be starting on that very soon. Over about 60 to 65% of the asbestos paint on the silos has been taken off. The new region director from US EPA from Midwest visited that site about 3 weeks ago, and she was very impressed with the project. They'll continue to take that paint off while they're demolishing the lower level buildings. And then, of course, the last thing to come down will be the silos. We're looking at early 26, like the first couple months of 26.
Yeah.
And that site will be down to dirt. And we do have very significant developer interest in that site. For purchase and redevelopment of it. So
I love it. I mean, we've talked about that a number of times. That whole area is just completely revamped, redeveloped.
I tell you, if you're looking to make investments, you should look at North Grand Avenue right now because Pillsbury's coming down. The rail infrastructure there is going to be such that traffic is going to flow very well through there. You're on the north side of the medical district. If you think about people coming down North Grand, heading west into that medical district, traffic counts are going to go up because the traffic's going to move so freely through there. You don't have that multiple rail crossings on North Grand east of Robert Stadium. You don't have the interesting crossing at 5th and 6th Street. Right. I mean, it's like every kid in driver's ed class in this community has been taken through that area before. So you don't have any of that to go through. Underpasses, overpasses, the at-grade crossings are done. Traffic's going to move freely. So I would look at North Grand Avenue. I'm really excited about what we're going to see at the north end. And the school districts completed their renovations of Lanphier.
Yeah, and it looks great. It's
Memorial Stadium's all turf there. I mean, it's looking sharp up there. So
no doubt about it.
Excited about that. On the warehouse front, the Amazon warehouse is hiring. And so they're looking to be operating here in the next couple months out there at that site. The other big warehouse at the Chatham exit on I-55, it's in the city of Springfield. Looks like it's in Chatham, but it's in the city of Springfield. Right. That developer, their tenant that they had an eye on was Frito-Lay for that warehouse. They've not inked the final deal with Frito-Lay, but this developer develops warehouses for lots of companies. And so they are shopping that site out to a lot of different companies because it's a good site. They've done the design work. They know what they need to do on their intersection there at the frontage road. It's right there at the interstate. So if you think about a truck full of something pulling out of that site, you turn right to go on the frontage road and you have a right turn, whether you're going north or southbound on I-55.
Yeah, you're right there, yeah.
And right turns are safer than left turns. So it's a really, really good site for that. So that they have not started construction yet, but we're hopeful that they'll be able to ink that tenant and get that done.
Awesome.
What else we have going on? Energy developments.
Big ones.
Big ones. Double Black Diamond Solar started operating in December of 24. They just announced recently that we were able to enter into a community benefit agreement with them. So over the next 20 years, they will provide $5 million, which will be provided through $250,000 per year for the next 20 years. And we are developing a fund with the community foundation to invest that money in developing a really robust arts, cultural, and entertainment community.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We're all worried about this 18 to 35-year-old demographic that's really hard to capture in the Midwest. And we know that is something that will appeal to that demographic. And so we're going to be able to use that money not only to activate things, but to also leverage other money. Private philanthropists will want to get involved in that here locally, but we can also leverage national foundation funding by using that money as a matching fund. And so the real good news is Ryan McCrady will not be picking out what band, because that's something you don't want to do is pick the music. But we will have a diverse group of people of that age group that can offer advice and input on the kind of events that would attract the demographic and age group. Because I know I'm no longer in that demographic.
Right.
So
you and me both.
We want to capture that funding. but we want to program in a way that's appealing to the stakeholders. So that's all just getting started, but the benefit's going to go on for many, many years. And we're really excited about that.
That's awesome. Is the vision for that like a location where you would do stuff at, or programmatic things maybe around Springfield?
I think it's more a programmatic thing, but could the money be used to develop some infrastructure at a key site? It could be. If there's a site that looks good that could host a recurring event, and maybe they need an AV system, or maybe they need something to support it. Yeah, so you could do infrastructure too, but it's going to be interesting to see how the money gets programmed. And we want the arts and entertainment community to be across the entire county.
Yeah.
Not just inside the city too. So we'll be able to support events a lot of different places. And it's kind of fun to sit and dream and vision cast that, right?
No doubt about it.
What could we do with this? What could it mean? What could it change our community to be? And we have great arts and cultural entities that just need the capacity to do more. We have great locations, the auditorium at UIS and the Hoagland Center and the theater on Lawrence. We have the Springfield Area Arts Council. We have the symphonies and the ballets and a lot of great things. Levitt, which, holy cow, Levitt's attracting thousands of people.
No doubt about it.
Week.
Huge.
So we can see that, like, okay, this is something good. How do we scale that up? How do we scale these things up to be an active community where people are like, we want to come down and experience these things?
And that's a good chunk of money to be used every year for that. I mean, it's not an insignificant chunk of money. It's a good pot of money.
It is. It's a lot of money. And Swift Current Energy was very excited to be part of it. Obviously, you can tell from the press release. They're very excited to do it and to see how it's going to get used. So that's definitely a good one. And then we are looking to start construction on the Lincoln Land Energy Center near Pawnee. It's about a $1.6 billion natural gas-fired power plant just south of Pawnee. And it's an enormous development.
That was a B. Just make sure you heard that.
Yeah,
that was a billion.
So there'll be about 500 construction workers working on that for 4 or 5 years. So the long-term benefit's great. The shot in the arm for construction work, it's going to be really good too. I mean, people that you go to school with or church with or your kids play ball with, those are the people building these things. And so if you have to drive around an orange barrel and you need 5 more minutes to get to work, just remember that's money chugging through our local economy. Right. So just take a breath and wave at the guys as you walk by with all fingers, 5 fingers as you go by there. And that's a good sign of progress in our community.
No doubt about it. So that one's 1.6. Like all these projects combined, what kind of dollar amount are we looking at for development in our area, all these new developments over the last couple of years?
So just Double Black Diamond and the Lincoln Land Energy Center together are about $2.5 billion. And the warehouses are probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $75 million. We've got $10 million in Pillsbury, bringing that down. The sports complex is about $65 or $70 million. So it's a lot. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a big inflow, right?
And we have other projects we're working on. We're not done. We have other prospects that we're working, and I think you'll be hearing some good things going forward too. Really keep your eye out for data centers. That's one of the things that are really knocking down the door right now at our place. Our data center developers looking for sites. Illinois is a key state for that because of our geographic location. We have attractive incentives. We have a lot of water, and we have industrial electric rates less than the national average right now. So we're becoming a good place for that too. So you'll see those, and those are really big projects and bigger than I ever thought I would work on.
Right. Yep. I love it. Well, you touched on it a little bit, but how do all these developments elevate our community, elevate all of us?
Yeah.
Here?
Well, it's a number of different ways. We have to push job creation and retention. Absent having jobs, it's impossible to retain population or attract population. Those jobs and developments also create the public services we need to really support our day-to-day lives. Keeping the roads in condition or keeping them plowed, public service, public health, public safety, all those things that we like to do. The park system, right? The park system's supported by tax dollars, which job creation helps with that. So the return of that job creation also supports our educational institutions. And the more development we can have, the better schools we can have. And the better schools we have, the more trained our workers are. So that helps us attract and retain more employers. So it all works together. The other thing it does for our community is it elevates Springfield as a place where we can do hard things. And one of the things I really like about working at the Growth Alliance is I never get called to help with something that's going well. That's just going to happen because they don't need our help. And that's one of the things you have to accept when you take a job like this, is that you're going to be the place they call when something's not going right. And if you're not having a great day, it feels like, man, why am I always the guy that gets drug into the bucket on this thing, right? But that shows you how much people value your organization if they're willing to call you when they need help. And one of the things I tell young people a lot is be the kind of person that other people can count on, not just at work, but in your family, in your relationship with your friends, that if you're the kind of person that they can count on, your phone's going to ring a lot.
Yep.
And it can get annoying, but it's a good sign that people can count on you. Just be that person that they know that they can count on, and you want your organization to be that way too. So I really like the fact that we're doing unique things here, right? That we're experiencing new things. A sports complex put together like no one ever put one together. The largest solar development east of the Mississippi. And that was the first solar project ever permitted in Sangamon County.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, we didn't get to practice on any small one.
Right.
We went right in, baby.
For the
4,200 acres. Here we come. But that's great. The natural gas power plant. What's going on at Pillsbury? The remediation process they're using on the silos has never been used in Illinois. And we brag about that because that shows that we're a community that's willing to try something different to get an outcome that we want. And economic development is a game of snowballing. You might have noticed we got a project and we got another project and we got another project. People watch. And people in that momentum just kind of keeping that going. But we want people to be excited about our community. We want people to know that we can do hard things, that we can do things that other communities aren't doing. And we want business owners to know, let's try it. Having a spirit of innovation in your community is absolutely critical. And to do that, you have to have people that want to be innovative. And this is a note to the community. You have to have a community that won't make fun of those people when they fail.
Right.
Because innovators fail a lot. And they fail fast when they go on to the next thing.
Right.
But if they get laughed at and criticized, they go somewhere where they're with other people. And we want those risk takers.
No doubt about it.
We want those people that'll try. It's like watching a kid that will just trial and error until they get that thing right. That's the spirit. And we want the community to have that spirit. And
I love that.
We got to keep pushing to get it there. Yep.
I love that. Do hard things. Have that risk-taking spirit. I mean, that what you mentioned a second ago, I tell that to people all the time too, where, be that person. I've always wanted to be that person. Somebody call you where they may not know exactly where to find an answer, but hey, I'm going to call you because I know you're going to be able to take care of me, or you're going to be able to at least find me an answer.
Well, there's just a lot of good books out there. There's a book out there called Do Hard Things. We had our kids read that when they were in middle school. And it's written by two individuals that are adults now, and their parents preached that to them. I think almost literally, I think they were involved in, I think they were pastors or involved in theology, but they said, do the hard things in life. And then the other one is Creativity Inc. You may have read that one from the gentleman that the creators of Pixar.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And in that, one of the things I really picked up on in that book was they talked about the benefit of being in a room with a group of people and just throwing ideas out there. And the other people saying, that's great. And what if we did this? And that, as opposed to someone saying, that's stupid. That's never going to work.
Never going to happen. Yeah.
It's just like blowing out a match. It's done when that happens. If you just sit in a room of people that says, that's not dumb. What can we do with that? What can we do with that? How do we expand upon that? How do we make it better? Having that spirit of innovation is really important. And the successful large companies in our country have done that. When I worked in Decatur, I talked a lot, to folks at Caterpillar, and they said their strategy was to encourage the employees to throw as many ideas in the top of this funnel. Just keep throwing them in there. And they know not all of them are going to shake out the bottom, but the more they can get going into the top, the better the chance they have of getting something else that ends up being a good thing.
And it cultivates that spirit too, that spirit of innovation, right?
It does.
Makes it so people aren't scared to throw out ideas that they might think are way out there.
Yeah. Nobody laughs at them, when they do it. Yeah. Encourage the risk takers, encourage the innovators.
I love that.
Yep.
So you've had a number of positions that you talked about earlier. What are some of the things you just talked about, but what are some other ways that you've elevated your professional life through your career?
Yeah. One of the things that I didn't even realize is going to be so important to me later in my career was being relational and not transactional. And life's so busy. And, right now we're all connected electronically and it's like we're always on the clock, right? It feels that way. And so you can be very much like a to-do list kind of person, right? I'm going to talk to this person about this deal, this person about that deal. Step back and talk to people and get to know people that you'll never do business with. And And I always prided myself, like if someone wants to get a cup of coffee or just come in and meet with me, I'm not thinking why. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. You just never know. And that is very enriching for your life and very enriching for your career too, because somewhere down the line, I don't think we meet people by accident. You know, I'm a person of faith, and I believe when you meet someone, there's something there. And take those meetings, get to know people, be relational. And that's, as Americans in the business world, we're very, very transactional. And if you ever work in foreign direct investment with a foreign company coming in, they're completely the opposite. They're relational. So when you meet them, they want to know, you know, tell me about your family. What kind of things do you do? And you're like, okay, when are we going to get down and talk about?
When are we going to get on?
We're going to talk about the transaction here. So that's farther down the road. And it takes a while. So be relational. That's very, very important. Expand your network that way. Get out and get to know people, right? That when you're sitting at work and you got that networking function at 4:00 and you're like, oh, I am so tired. I just want to go home, watch the game. That's the night you know you got to go. You know, you just got to go and walk in the door, and everybody's nervous. Everyone feels the same there.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Just get out and don't go there because you want to sell some dollar amount of something. Just go there and get to know people. It's really, really important. So I definitely encourage that. And, you know, as I've elevated my role in organizations over the years and expanded the number of people that worked for me, I've realized that you have to be really deliberate about explaining the why to the people that work for you. When I ran the county government here, we had 800 employees, 500 to 600 at the city of Decatur. And we implemented some really large scale projects in those roles. That I learned very quickly is you can't assume people know why. Why are we doing this? Why does it matter to us? So be very, very deliberate about explaining that and being open to the input that comes back and empowering the people that work for you to do their jobs. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to someone that worked for me and I said, look, you're not in this role by accident. There's been a whole lot of people that know you can do this job and know that going forward. And then as you manage them, one of the things I've learned is mistakes happen. And when something goes wrong, don't isolate your judgment on what went wrong. Work hard to understand the thought process that went into making that decision, right? Because you can make a good decision and have bad outcomes. The example I give is, let's say you're in charge of planning the company picnic this weekend, and you have to decide whether we do it indoor or outdoors. And you have to decide by Thursday for the Saturday picnic. And you're like, oh, I'm looking at the weather. I'm like, well, hey, there's a 15% chance of rain Saturday.
That should be okay. We're going.
And so you make the decision to go outdoors, and it pours down rain on everybody, including the CEO of the company. It'd be real easy to say that was a bad decision. It was not a bad decision, bad outcome.
Right.
So what I try to do is sit down, let's talk about the thought process that went into that. Because you can go through the right process and still get a bad outcome.
Absolutely.
And you want, like I said, you want people to be able to feel like they have the expertise to do their job, empower them to do that, and then talk about those other things afterwards.
Absolutely. So you talked about the why a second ago. How do you consistently and persistently get that to your team? That's one of those things where it can't just be a one and done. Hey, this is why we do what we do. It has to be kind of constantly plugged in there. Why our purpose? Why are we showing up here today? Why are we pushing this hard? Why are we doing this?
You just have to keep talking about it. I mean, that's the best thing you can do is just keep talking about it. And if you're the leader of a large organization, you got to be there personally sometimes too. I would show up at the Public Works Garage.
Right.
Not because I wanted to catch anybody doing anything wrong, but if I was out driving around town and looking at things or going to meetings and I had to use the restroom, I'd swing in there.
Yeah.
And it's just because people get to know you and things come up. So be approachable that way. Get out and just have the conversation. Just keep saying it. And then ask for that feedback. What do you think? What are you hearing? The example I had is, we redid the whole water system in Decatur, and that included changing from doing bills every other month to doing bills every month. So you can imagine, and the group that I met with the most were the people that worked in the water billing department that accepted the payments and took the phone calls from people. And, you know, when we got ready to roll it out, I met with them early. I explained why we had to do it. I got feedback from them, what would work well. After we implemented, I met with them every week to say, what are you hearing? Because I also had regular spots on local radio stations. Yep. And so they'd say, we're getting questions about this. So that I knew when I went on the radio, I would talk about that. And it was an amazing process, the way that it all kind of came out together. But I also gave them the answers to the questions, because it's real easy to say, I don't know, the boss told me to do it.
Right.
Right.
So they could tell me the questions. What do we do if someone asks this? I'm like, this is the answer to that. This is the answer to that. And they felt very much like they were shaping the program because they were. It didn't matter how good a job I did. The citizens were going to get their opinion on how well it went based on how that person treats them when they call on the phone.
Exactly.
So it was really, really important to have that conversation with them. And
I had forgotten all about that because I was indicator
That's right,
at that point. So yeah, I'd forgotten all about that.
Yeah. Thankfully, a lot of people have now, but it was something that had to get done. And we were very, very deliberate about going through that process. Now, I offer that example of something that went well. But the reason you learn to do that is you make mistakes early in your career. So anyone that worked with me 25 or 30 years ago, give me a little grace.
It's the grace.
Okay? I was pretty new at that. I wasn't always good at it, but you got to have that growth mindset. Sometimes you got to look back. I'm not great at this yet, but I am better than I was 2 days ago.
Absolutely. Consistent improvement.
That's right. I've been very blessed. The opportunities I've had, the things I've got to do, I just feel really fortunate. So
I love it. Let's touch on the personal side. You've talked a little bit about faith. You've talked about reading, but what are some of the ways that you elevate your life personally?
Yeah. I try to never stop learning. So one of the things I ask myself sometimes is, when's the last time I did something for the first time?
Love that.
And I'm 55, and it's hard to say that, but you get in a pattern, man, and you'll think, man, it's been 5 years since I did something for the first time. That is really, really an interesting challenge. And one of my older brothers was in town the last couple of weeks for our daughter's wedding, and he's older than I am. And we talked about how do you stay sharp? How do you stay mentally sharp and things like that? And I asked him that. I said, when's the last time you did something for the first time? He's like, that's a really good question.
I absolutely love that question.
It's scary. It's scary because you get to where you do the same thing all the time. And it's just accepting the fact that you're not going to be the best at it, whatever it is. You're not going to be the best at it. But man, if you don't do that, you never would have learned to walk.
Right.
You never would have learned to do a lot of things. So that's one of the things I try to do. I stay very active.
What's your next first thing? Do you have that on the list?
I don't know. But now that I said that, I was like, I got to think of something. I did work-wise. I've done all these projects I've done here. I've never done before. I've never done a solar development. I've never did a sports complex. Never tore down a factory like we did at Pillsbury. I tore a few down in Decatur.
Right.
But now I like this one. So a data center, never done one of those on that side of it. But I got to find something in my personal life now to challenge myself.
That satisfaction, like you said, of the trying something new, and then when it comes into that and it is successful,
I tell you what,
more satisfying.
Tell you what it was. My daughter wanted me. She was going to have cupcakes at her wedding reception, and she wanted me to build her a cupcake tower.
Okay,
I'd never done one of those before, and at first I was like, man, I could buy one of those. But I'm like, your daughter asked you to build something.
Specifically asked to build it. Yeah.
And I kept thinking, man, I've never done one of these. And I kept telling myself, when's the last time you did something for the first time? So I ended up doing it, and it's already been reused by somebody else. So
I love it.
It stood up. The cupcakes didn't fall off of it. I mean, I even looked up what's the average weight of a cupcake, to figure out if it was sturdy enough. But that was a thing I do like to do. I like to try to build things. I like to do improvements around the house.
What'd you build it out of? Was it wood?
It was out of wood. And I looked at several ones online that you could buy and kind of designed mine afterwards. Like a 2-inch dowel down the center of it. And then I had round platforms that went up that were, progressively smaller, looked like a cake kind of thing. That's how I ended up putting it together. And as you're doing it, you find out that, when you screw one plate on top of this dowel, you can't screw the other one up through the bottom both, right?
Right.
There's nowhere to put the screw. I'm like, okay, now I got to engineer dowel pins to go in there. So I'm like, okay, how do I do that? But it was really good for my mind that I figured it out.
Right.
So I like to do that. I like to garden. I like to work in the yard. I like to do stuff around the house. I like to read.
Pretty big garden. You do quite a bit of that?
I don't have a big garden. I have 4 tomato plants and 2 green pepper plants. But if you looked at my countertop right now, you'd swear I had 20.
Sure.
It was like all those tomatoes, man, they show up at the same time.
They do.
So if you see me in the next couple of weeks, I may hand you a tomato.
Talking tomatoes, everybody. Here you go.
I enjoy doing that. One of the things I really love to do is cook. And I will try to make new things when I'm cooking from time to time. And I grew up cooking at a truck stop near Divernon, where I grew up. And I just kept doing that. And I always said when our kids were little, it's like every night was like an episode of Chopped. Because you get home and you open up the refrigerator and the kids have a tolerance time of about 30 minutes before they're screaming for dinner. Like, what are we going to make? The first time I watched Chop, I'm like, I do this every night.
What do we got? All right, this is our basket. Here we go.
That's what it felt like when you
Right.
got home. I do challenge myself that way. I watch different cooking things on social media, TikTok, other places, and I'm like, oh, I'll try to do that. So I enjoy doing that too. But I got to find something big to be the next thing I haven't done for the first time. It's not going to be skydiving. Don't even call me about that.
Wouldn't be me either.
No, I'm
I
not
wouldn't do that.
not interested.
Not
in
interested at all.
Last summer, I cliff jumped for the first time.
Oh, nice.
With my kids down at Table Rock Lake. So
fun.
Did
Enjoy
it
it
once. Actually, I jumped off twice, and they're like, "Do it again." I'm like, "No, I'm gonna do the Michael Jordan. I'm gonna go out a winner. Didn't hurt myself. Didn't get full of water. I'm like, we're just gonna say I did it, and that's cool. So I'll try to find my next thing.
Love it. So, out of curiosity, the truck stop that you were cooking at probably isn't still there or anything, is it? Or is the building still there? Okay.
It's right at the intersection of I-55 and Route 104. It used to be called the Truckers Homestead. It was 24-hour-a-day truck stop. And, a lot of people from that part of the state ate at that place. It was a hopping place, family owned, and weren't a lot of child labor laws back then, Robert. And when I first started cooking, I was cooking the second shift, and sometimes the night shift cook wouldn't show up, and they'd say, "You want to stay?" I just just call my mom and dad. I'm like, "I'm going to work a double shift. I'll keep going." And good thing I was an honest kid. I could have been in the middle of a cornfield
doing
somewhere,
whatever, yeah.
But and when some of the 3 a.m. bars would close down around the area, the orders would get very interesting.
Yeah.
That would come in there, 12 egg omelets, things like that. Right. It was a really, really good job, and they worked us really hard, but it's amazing what a 16-year-old kid can do when you challenge them.
I was going to say, that had to be good for your work ethic and everything at that point, and growing, stretching.
It was cool. And then next thing you know, you're working in the county sheriff's office, and you're buying all the food for a county jail. And, I say, "You know what a number 10 size can of green beans is?" I'm like, "I absolutely do." How do you know that? Because I cooked in a restaurant. So
Right.
I wouldn't have known that if I wouldn't have had that.
That's awesome.
Had that job. So those are some things I do. And like I said, my faith's very important to me. My wife and I are very involved in our church. And that's a really fulfilling thing for me. And a lot of our friends come from those connections.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
it's just been a really enriching part of our life. And I encourage people to have that out there to help them. And, one of my wife went through her health challenges a few years ago. Boy, that community was just so important. Obviously, the medical community is very important too, that we have here. But having that support out there.
That support is huge.
It is. And boy, you go through something like that and you realize that there's some powerful forces out there, and you want them on your side.
Absolutely. Now we go to West Side, and
Okay.
my younger daughter, she loves characters right now. So she loves all kinds of characters.
Right.
So we're at the Lucky Horseshoe. She wants to take a picture with Horace, right? If we're at the ball game, she wants to take a picture with Fredbird, whoever, right?
Yeah.
So right now is at the movies, right? Over a 6-week period. Yeah. And each week they have people out there dressed up as characters. So the last few weeks and for the next few weeks, she's going to be a character, whether it's a minion or Anna from Frozen or whatever, but she absolutely loves serving in that way. Having all the little kids come up to her, because she's 12, so it's not like she's quite an old kid or anything yet, but she loves having the littles come and talk to her when she's the character.
Well, just a warning, our youngest son loved mascots and characters when he was little. And he was Horace for the Lucky Horseshoes out at Robin Roberts Stadium for a couple summers. He did it a number of times out there. It was so funny to us when he ended up doing that. It's like when you were little, you would drive every mascot crazy everywhere that we went. Sure. I said, now you're the guy. I said, there's going to be some little kid that was just like you coming up there. So yeah, it's maybe someday she'll get to do that.
That's right. So, she'd be all over it. She loves it. At least now she does.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
We'll see.
That's good. So
Ryan, we always close with this. We've talked about a lot of great things. Let's give the audience one more on the personal side, one more on the professional side to help them elevate their life or business.
On the professional side, you really have to believe in yourself, and you have to be tough between the ears. And if you're going to be the kind of person that does things that have never been done before, there's going to be a lot of people that don't believe that you can do it. Having that confidence is unbelievably important as you go through it. We can't guarantee outcomes. We certainly can't guarantee outcomes in economic development. I get asked a lot, do you think this thing's going to happen? Do you think that's going to happen? Is it for sure? And my response is, it's not for sure. But what I know is I can improve the probability of a positive outcome by getting involved. And if we only get involved in things that are certain to happen, we're never going to be innovative. We're never going to do things that nobody else has ever done. And just trust your instincts as a professional. I believe that, and listen to what your inside voice is saying about things. Like, I think we can do this. I think we can do it. Because that spirit's really contagious.
It most definitely is. No doubt about it.
Definitely is. On the personal side, I always encourage people to be wherever their feet are. And now we have these phones and I hear people say all the time, no one works as much as they used to. Baloney.
Right. No.
I don't believe that for a second.
I don't believe that for a second either.
We're on those things all the time, getting pinged with stuff. So
there is no separation like there used to be a true separation.
Yeah.
You'd leave and you'd be away from work for a while.
And this is a lesson I learned the hard way, that you have to be where your feet are. So when you were at work, try to be there. There's more importantly, when you're at home, try to be there. I've had a blessed career, but I have worked a lot of hours. I wouldn't say I have a regret about time I wasn't at home. But one thing my wife said to me when I was telling her, I was like, I feel kind of guilty for how much I worked or I'm working. And she's like, well, the difference is when you're home, you're home. Do your best to be there where your feet are. Put your phone down, talk to your family, practice doing nothing sometimes. That's really hard for me.
Me too. Yeah.
Because I can't hardly do, like sometimes on a Saturday, I'm like, I'm so proud I did nothing but just relaxed. And my wife always laughs. I know that's hard work for you.
Right.
So, but be where your feet are. Be present emotionally, personally, mentally, the best that you can. I also will tell you, you're never going to do that 100% of the time. But I think we can agree that 85% of the time is better than 25%.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
So willing to give it a try, but be where your feet are is the other thing that I tell people.
Awesome. And anything we can do community-wide to help us all elevate Springfield and elevate our community.
The best thing you can do is ask someone to move here, ask someone to bring their business here, talk positively about your community. You never know who you're talking to. You never know who's listening. But what you think becomes what you say, and what you say becomes what you do. And if we think negative, we're going to say negative, and we're going to do negative, right? So let's talk about positive things. Let's be a kind of community that innovates. Everybody in this community works in economic development. Because if a business is coming to town to visit with me on Wednesday, they show up on Tuesday and they go around town and talk to everybody.
Right.
They know what I'm going to tell them. This is the best place in the world for you to be. But they go out and get everybody else's opinions about that too. So you're on. We're all on. So when you're talking to someone about your community positively, it makes a big difference.
Let's go. Come on, Springfield. Let's change that self-talk.
Right.
Blow us up here. Let's go.
That's right.
Well, Ryan, appreciate you spending the afternoon with me.
I appreciate what you do because you are elevating Springfield. You are getting out there, encouraging people and encouraging other professionals, and doing a great job of it. So we're really excited to have you doing this.
I appreciate it, Ryan. I love doing it. Let's give the audience another way to get a hold of you, your website and everything.
That's right. Check us out at thriveandspi.org. You're also welcome to give us a call, 217-679-3500. When you get to our website, you can also get email addresses for the staff and I. And you can also link to our social media accounts, and you can see a lot of this content and videos and things we're doing. If you like what you see, feel free to share it. That helps too. So
let's go. Share it. All right. Well, we're going to let Ryan get back to elevating Springfield, but for the rest of y'all, we'll be right back.
Looking for expert tree care with hometown integrity? Look no further than Sangamon Tree Service. They're your trusted local pros, delivering quality workmanship, exceptional customer service, and fair, honest pricing every time. Whether it's trimming, removal, or storm cleanup, their team brings professionalism and care to every job, big or small. Call the name your neighbors trust, Sangamon Tree Service, or visit them today at SangamonTreeService.com. Sangamon Tree Service, rooted in quality, built on trust.
All right, so how about Ryan McCrady? Man, dropping bomb after bomb, just absolutely spitting fire today. So many great takeaways. Did you know that we had that many billions of dollars of development going on right now? I sure hope you did, because those things are making a tremendous impact on our community. And if you didn't know about them, you know about them now. So let's use that information and continue to promote our community. One of my favorite things that Ryan said, and we use that a lot also in the 10X world, is What you think is what you say, and what you say is what you do. And then I'll take it one more further than that. What you do is what impacts your life and those around you. So, how can we get rid of that negative think, get rid of that negative talk, which will allow us to be positive both in the mind and what we say and in our actions? As a community, we need to be able to do that. We need to be able to promote ourselves. That way, businesses want to come here. That way, businesses don't have trouble finding people for their open positions. We want to grow. We want to be able to innovate. Like Ryan said, we want to do hard things, and we want to show others that we can do hard things. That's a big thing in the 10X world right there. I talk a lot about do the most difficult things first. Do hard things. They're going to make you stretch. They're going to make you grow. They're going to make you figure stuff out. He talked a lot about how we were the first to do this or that. You know, Pillsbury, one of that project, the first to do a portion of that, right? So where in your life are you not doing the hard things? Are you taking the easy road? Figure out where you can do something for the first time. Like he said, he mentioned, hey, when's the last time you did something for the first time? As we get older, that tends to be a longer and longer period, right? So where can we do something for the first time? Where can we do the hard things that'll allow us to stretch and grow and become better and become great in whatever our industry or occupation is, or in our personal lives? Ryan also talked about being that person that people can depend upon. That's one thing I've always tried to do in my life. Be that person to where, hey, if somebody doesn't know how to do something or they're trying to figure something out and can't quite do it, be that person that they want to call, because they know that, hey, you might not know exactly what to do either, but you're going to help them figure that out. So be that person, be dependable. In the 10X world, we talk a lot about that in a number of different aspects. So be there for your clients, be there for your family, be dependable day in and day out, show up and be that person that people know that they can count on. That can go a long way, both personally and professionally. And then that allows you to grow and be unique as well, because not everybody is dependable. Actually, people tend to not be very dependable. They haven't built the discipline in there to grow that dependability muscle, right? It takes time and takes work. So where in your personal and professional life can you become more dependable, where you can be that guy or gal for the folks around you? If you're falling short in one area, what can we do to get better there? And maybe you're already great in one area, but we can always get better. We're never 100% perfect. We can always grow. So how can we implement that in our lives? Another thing he talked about was innovation, how we want to be a community that supports and celebrates innovation. He talked about innovators fail fast. We talk about in the 10X world where you just have to go, right? You don't want to get in planning paralysis. You don't want to be planning for years and years and years. Speed to market is critical. Speed to finish is critical. Speed in general is critical to your success, critical to innovation, critical to growth, critical to scale. And that's along the same lines as innovation. You're going to fail sometimes in terms of you're not going to get the outcome you want, but you remember that you only fail as if you quit, right? So failure is impossible if you don't quit. But if you're going to continue to innovate, and as you do, those things are going to start meshing, those opportunities are going to pop, and one of those innovations is going to be the game changer. And as he mentioned, we can't have people in our community dogging the people that are trying to innovate. We want to try new things. We want to grow.
We want to innovate. We want to show everyone that Springfield is here to pop, is here to explode. And like I've been talking a number of times over the past few months, is I feel like we are on the precipice of some extensive growth, and innovation is what's going to allow us to get there while taking care of the businesses and community members and organizations that we have here now. So, hey, so much phenomenal stuff with Ryan today. I would encourage everyone to go out to the Springfield Sangamon Growth Alliance website, check out some of the data and research they have on there, some of those marketing materials that he talked about, and be an advocate for our community. Get out there, talk positively, blow up what we've got going on around here. Be the voice, be the people that can talk positively about our community, that can tell the story of Springfield and the surrounding areas in a light that wants people to come here. That way, when we do that as a whole, as a group, that's going to certainly elevate Springfield. And you know, that's what I'm here to do. That's the whole premise of this podcast, is to elevate our lives personally and professionally while elevating the community on the whole. So when we all go out there in full force, talk positively about our community, sing the praises of what we've got going on around here, then hey, we are all going to benefit and elevate together. Be right back with another edition of the Wellness Upgrade. Looking for personalized insurance with hometown care? David Hilst, American Family Insurance Agents, here to help you protect what matters most: your family, your home, and your dreams. Whether it's auto, home, life, business, David and his team are proud to serve the Springfield community with trusted advice and reliable coverage. Local service, real relationships, peace of mind. Call today or stop by their office. They can build your dream protection plan together. Call 217-726-6343. All right, and we are back for another edition of the Wellness Upgrade with Dr. Sammy. Dr. Sammy, how are we doing today?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you.
Good to have you back as always.
Thank you for having me.
Before we get going, remind everybody where you're from and what you do.
Yep, I'm a chiropractor in Springfield, and I'm from Rochester originally, and we live in Chatham now.
Awesome. So today's topic, all about blood sugar. So in today's world, the rates of diabetes are absolutely skyrocketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
The average American diet could be a part of that, part of the reason why that is. But let's talk a little bit about who needs to check their blood sugar, what all that is about, how that leads to diabetes and all that good stuff.
Definitely. So I think as we kind of go through life and as we have a family and we accelerate in our jobs and we do different things, the way that we treat our bodies goes on the back burner a little bit. And so a lot of people will go to a primary care physician or a functional medicine specialist, and they're told that, maybe they're pre-diabetic or full-blown diabetic, and they don't know where to go from there. Or sometimes modern day medicine will say you're pre-diabetic, you don't need to change anything yet, you're not full-blown. If somebody was told they were pre-diabetic, they should hit the ground running with that and really change their lifestyle and what they're doing so that they don't have to deal with that later on. That is something for most people that can be reversed, that can be handled without drugs and medical intervention. So if you were somebody that is chronically running and stressed and busy all the time, and you're kind of grabbing processed food, fast food, you're holding on to weight more than you would like, you have vision changes, you are irritable, you're thirsty, you feel like you can't get full, you can't be satisfied, all of those things are reasons to maybe get checked out and have some blood work done. Then if your blood work does come back that you're pre-diabetic, there's just a few simple things that you can do to slowly start to monitor that. So usually after people eat, they sit and converse or they're on to the next thing. It would be a complete world changer if after we ate, everybody went for a 10-minute walk. When I was younger, that's what our family did.
Yeah.
Everybody, after you eat, you go out and you go for a 10-minute walk. That's not really the norm anymore. But if you can just get yourself up and go for a walk, that would really help level your blood sugar after you've eaten. Another thing that's really easy to monitor, and it seems kind of bizarre and like maybe not everybody needs to do this. I've started doing this a couple of years ago just because I think it's interesting to gauge your blood sugar and the spikes in it based off of what you eat. And certain people are affected by certain things. You can buy a glucometer from Amazon for, $20. And I know it scares some people to prick their finger, but you do it a couple times. It's not a big deal at all. It takes 20 seconds to check your blood sugar. So I was just kind of curious. I didn't have any reason to. I just wanted to know, like, when I eat this breakfast, what does it do to me? When I eat this lunch, what does it do to me?
I've heard a lot of people doing that, especially people that are in the biohacking field and everything, starting to do that.
And with Oura Rings now, they have one that you can wear, which I don't do that because I check my blood sugar, but you can wear it and then you can upload your meals. You take a picture of it and it tracks your blood sugar and throughout the day and what happens with stress, what happens with the meal that you ate, and it tells you what to avoid and what to continue doing. So it's pretty interesting. So if you can just take your blood sugar first thing in the morning, take it right when you wake up, and then take it 2 hours after you eat is usually a really good way to monitor it.
Okay. So what does that do to the body, having those blood sugar spikes? What is happening inside of your body?
So obviously, if you're eating something sugary, if you're doing something, that's the blood glucose level that's spiking. And it's not a bad thing. It's a common thing. With most food, no matter what you eat, you get these spikes and then it levels out afterwards. The problem is a lot of us are eating sugary things or really carb driven things instead of a balanced plate. If every plate could have protein, a small amount of healthy fat, a small carb of some sort, and a large portion of vegetables, I'm not against that. I think even if you're diabetic, carbs are not a huge devil. They just need to be in moderation like anything else. So whenever you eat something sugary, it causes this huge spike, and then which in return causes a huge crash. And then that's when people get that feeling of like sick or tired or just not feeling well.
Let's take a step back just so everybody's explain diabetes type 1 versus type 2.
So type 1 is something that you can't really help. That's an issue with your pancreas in itself, that most of those are insulin dependent. Those are the people that carry the pumps or they do the injections. Type 2 is usually something that forms later on because of a not so healthy lifestyle and a not so healthy diet. That's not always the case, but that's usually what happens.
That's why the rates have skyrocketed so much. It's probably gone right along with the diet going down in terms of the quality of diet.
Yeah,
and then
the diet goes down and the diabetes goes up.
Right.
You got it.
So what are some things that people can do? Maybe they're not checking their levels, but what are some things they can do to start preventing some of that decline?
Definitely. So it doesn't have to be like a big workout every single day, but trying 10,000 steps is not for everybody, like we've talked about in the past. I get that, but that's a good goal. If you're a desk job worker and you're sitting at your desk and you're snacking on processed foods, you really should be focusing on, instead of going to get a snack, going for a walk instead and getting something that's maybe not so processed, especially if you've been told that you're pre-diabetic or if you're starting to get some of those symptoms of prediabetes. You're kind of overweight, you're lethargic, you have no energy, you have no libido. It's all of these things are alluding to that something's not quite right. So if you go for, even if there's small walks, even if you have a 10-minute break, go for a walk instead of scrolling on your phone. So walking is really, really good. And just really moving your body is great for that. I don't mind that people snack. And I know it depends on who you talk to, that you should be having meals throughout the day and snacks in between every meal. But if you're somebody that's pre-diabetic, I really just want you getting 3 well-balanced meals a day. And another thing is I want you to really focus on portion control when it comes to that. A lot of people, after they have a meal, then they want to have something sweet. It's okay if you need something on the sweeter side, but try to, regulate how much sugar is in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think if you just get a nice, well-rounded meal and put it on a small plate, because then that tricks your brain into thinking that there's more there. That's another thing, is you can't really be satisfied. You're constantly hungry. You feel like you have to eat. You always need sweets. But if you can trick your brain into thinking there's enough food here, it looks great, there's plenty of X, Y, and Z, and then you're not craving that afterwards.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I've told you before, I've cut out all sugar except for fruit. But one thing I'll have is after dinner or something, I'll have some coconut yogurt with some blueberries in it and stuff like that. It's delicious.
Sweet too.
Yeah, still sweet and it's delicious.
And it might be hard in the beginning to break that because you're used to this just really terrible for you, sugary dessert, whatever it is. And our brain recognizes that. And have you seen those studies where people who have sugar versus people who have had, like, let's say, a drug that they're addicted to?
Sugar versus cocaine or something like that.
The brain lights up very similarly. And so just like anything else, you have to taper off of that. So it might not just be, I'm never eating something sugary again. Start cutting back on that and then shifting into something that's maybe just a little bit better for you. And then it's funny, once you do that and you have something sugary, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so sweet. Like, I can't believe I ate this every night. So it really kind of changes how your body processes that type of food. And then you don't want it as much anymore.
No doubt about it. And I will attest to the walking after meals. That is a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I typically do that after dinner and after lunch most times too. If I don't do it, I can tell a difference. And
Yeah,
how my
you
body
kind of get that slump and you feel
like I'm more
bloated.
lethargic than I would have been if I would have just taken, like I said, it doesn't have to be long, 10, 15 minutes.
Right.
Get moving.
Right.
And then you feel lighter. It's what it is.
It's so true.
So yeah, and you talk about snacking. I'm probably a little predisposed to being a snacker.
Mhm.
I always have been. So
Yep.
so I've
Too.
just changed the snacks, right?
Yep.
So more vegetables as snacks rather than junk.
Yes.
So-
And that's going back to technology is amazing because you can find a way to make, and like cottage cheese is very trendy right now too. But you can find different ways to make really strange, maybe things that you wouldn't want to eat for a snack. You can turn them into really cool things now that are healthy for you, but you don't realize that it is. So
Yeah,
you kind of trick yourself into that.
So I know a lot of people try to get a lot of fiber. Some people say you should get a ton of fiber. Some people say it should be, moderated to this or whatever.
Mhm.
How does fiber affect blood sugar?
It's hard because obviously it depends. I don't want anybody doing anything without talking to their doctor or whoever they trust with their health, because there's certain people who should not have high amounts of fiber. But for the most part, we don't have enough. The average American hardly gets any fiber. And that's really good for some of this hunger control and some of this blood sugar regulation too. So that's nice in the morning. If you, for example, if you can have some type of fiber mixed with a protein. So let's say you're making something and you throw 2 tablespoons of chia seeds on it, or if you can't taste those, they're wonderful for you. They're cheap and it's a great way to get your fiber in the morning. And then you don't have to try to get all this fiber in every single meal. You can just have some of it scattered throughout the rest of the day. So that's good for blood sugar regulation too.
Absolutely. And a lot of people think that eating healthy is a lot more expensive, but if you go down that road where you're buying bulk foods and things like that, I mean, some of those basics are not that expensive at
No,
all, and
they're
they're
not.
so much better.
We
for you.
overcomplicate it so much. It's not that deep if you just keep everything simple. And it can seem really overwhelming. Like there's all these topics, there's all these changes I want to make. Just pick one meal a day that you change it first. Just say for breakfast, I'm going to try this breakfast every single morning. And then you can kind of monitor, if you are somebody that's monitoring that, see what that does to your blood sugar, how that makes you feel that day. And if it's something that's easy to make and it's affordable and it's convenient, you're going to do it again and again and again. If it's this big elaborate thing that you're trying to pull together every day on top of keeping your, family alive and doing all these things, it's not going to happen. So just simplify one meal, then pick the next meal to simplify and go from there.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people go to the store and they want to try to get something to take the place of something that they used to eat, like a quote unquote healthier cookie or something like that.
Exactly.
And those typically are more expensive than the regular cookies.
They are.
But if you just are getting vegetables and fruits and some meat, some beans and some grains, it's really not that expensive.
It's not that bad. Yeah.
So,
Yep.
absolutely. So any things people should be aware of when it comes to blood sugar, any do's and don'ts?
Just try not to overcomplicate it. Start listening to your body. Really take note after you eat something, how you feel, how it makes you function throughout the day, and going from there.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Sammy, thanks again for stopping by today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. We're going to let Dr. Sammy get back to elevating Springfield. For the rest of y'all, we'll be back.
Look, I get it. Mortgages sound boring until you realize you need one, and suddenly you're neck deep in paperwork. Googling terms like escrow and DTI, like you're studying for a finance exam you didn't sign up for. I'm Fred Weber at 217 Mortgage. I break it down like a real human, not a robot in a tie. VA loans, first-time homebuyer, refi, I've got you. Local, fast, and yes, I answer my phone. 217 Mortgage, because adulting is hard enough.
Equal Housing Opportunity, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee, Department of Financial and Professional Regulation, NMLS number 6606. nmlsconsumeraccess.org. Conditions and restrictions apply. This is not a loan commitment or guarantee of any kind. All mortgage loan products are subject to credit and property approval. New American Funding, LLC, all rights reserved. Corporate office 14511, Myford Road, Suite 100, Tustin, California 92780. Phone number 1-800-450-2010, NAF.com.
Well, thank you for joining us today, everybody. Appreciate you making us a part of your day. Hey, head over to social. You can just find me personally at Robert Farrell at everywhere. Give us a like, give us a subscribe over on YouTube. We would certainly appreciate it. We also have the Elevate Springfield pages out there as well. YouTube is a great place to go. My personal channel at Robert Farrell to find all these clips that I'm posting out on social. They're all curated right there for you to watch and listen. Hey, want to thank Ryan for stopping by, giving us an update on what's going on in the community, how he has elevated his life personally and professionally. So many great gems. Hey, don't forget, y'all, let's stop that negative talk. Because what we think is what we say, and what we say is what we do, and let's make that all positive. Also want to thank Dr. Samantha Wagner, Dr. Sammy, for spending some time with us today as well. So many great things when she stops by. So take what you learned today. You bring the discipline and follow through, and together, that's right, y'all, we're going to elevate Springfield. Be great.
Big dog. Some remodeling or redesign and build. Come and see our showroom. No one does it like we will. Call Big Dog. Big Dog. Let us do it once, and then you're gonna see. You'll wanna be a part of the Big Dog family. Call Big Dog. Big Dog. If you want the job done and you want it done right, call 8332 Big Dog.
Your local Window Depot USA.